I'm back. A little tired, but shit, excuse me. We dropped this video anyways. Pretty much, man. Kind of making the same things where just after a week or two go by, just whatever's been on my mind and whatever popped up on a couple of times, like I try to talk about it. But today, I always say this: I don't really got much, but it always expand to something else. But pretty much this is gonna kind of be relating to work and the different things that I seen and the energies that I could have fallen back into, the spaces I could have went back into, and literally, I can like I taught my girl this with like in a situation of being tired. Like you might be tired, but don't let everybody else fatigue weigh you down because everybody gonna come with you like, oh my feet hurt, all that, all this, all that. And it's like you can keep pushing through it. You might even ignore it, but every time somebody come to you, you realize your pain or actualize your pain even more. So it keeps amplifying, amplifying, amplifying. And it's like sometimes we are magical. Sometimes we can ignore our pain, and sometimes it's better to do that for in the short term, especially if you know the long term benefits. And if other people always want to bitch and complain, like either get better shoes, quit your job, get better insoles or something, but it's like don't keep complaining because you're only weighing yourself down. You're only making it harder on yourself, and that's why I was like, I just tell my girl don't get sucked into that information or that space. And it's like that same shit was like I feel like I can get sucked back into that space of always thinking you're a slave, always thinking people are not in the best interest of you or don't give a fuck about you. In this case, like in all cases, it might be partially true. It's levels to this shit. And if you look at the big picture, we are all slaves to the American ways and capitalism. So besides that though, on the day to day shit, like besides capitalism and knowing that shit's out there, like it's no real slavery. I'm not getting beat. I'm not getting super overworked. I'm only working 5 hours a day, like 6 hours a day at max. Like it's not really slavery. I still get paid off of it and shit like that. Now, as a server, if you don't get no money, it might feel like it's slavery because you're only getting paid $2 an hour. So and then that shit don't even come out. So yeah, it's different. Like I said, there's levels to this shit, but for the most part, you gotta understand just because you don't make money one day you don't got to be like, oh, I'm a slave. But then you make 150 the next day. Oh, I love my job. So you see how you don't just fall into that energy because it's all of a sudden you feel like it's this way now because the one day went against you. And the reason I'm just even bringing this slave shit up is because I literally heard it like one of my first 2 days. Don't let them make you a slave. And I don't think I ever said this at work, but of course I talk about it on the podcast. I talk about it here because this is just me being open as possible. But like literally, I took out the trash and there was like literally no servers ever took out the trash before. All right, cool. I'm not gonna always take out the trash. Like it's not my responsibility. I don't have the time and all this other shit. But at this moment, I'm not doing shit, and it benefits me to take out the trash because it's over full. And like, where we gonna put any other the trash where we scrape off our plates from? So I'm like, let me take this shit out, be benefit because I don't feel like walking around the mess. So I do that. And man, don't keep doing that, man. They'll make a slave out of you. And it's like, nah, bro, nobody can make a slave out of me. And especially in this work environment, like, bro, like, you're not about to overwork me. Literally can't overwork me. Like, like either I'm gonna be like I'm busy or like I'm not tired. So it's not it's like I don't know, man. I don't get tired like that. Like my feet may hurt, but I can always keep walking. Like my feet always hurt. Like since I was a little kid, my feet hurt. Like I don't know. Like playing football and shit, always being in cleats. I'm used to having foot pain and walking around with foot problems. So not foot problems in a sense, but that, that's the least of my concerns type shit. Like I get used to having feet pain. I miss because I'm kind of tall. I'm not super tall. That's another thing too, just standing up so long. But I'm used to that shit. Like I can be cooking for like 2 or 3 minutes. I mean not 2 or 3 minutes, but for like 30 minutes. And by the time I sit down, my feet will be throbbing. So yeah, I can get sucked into that pain and be like, oh, I'm tired. I can't keep working and all that shit. Like or I'm being overworked, or I can just realize, bro, your body gonna have pain. It's a part of this human experience that I really don't love, and it's just a part of being weighed down. Like your body gonna feel that shit. So that's something you understand. It's like you gotta actualize shit. Like for the most part, like I know I gotta come here and get money, maybe do some things that I don't want to do, but for the most part, I'm gonna be good in my little section. Like they're not gonna overwork me as a server. But even then, it's like what I want to say, getting overworked. I'm not feeling overworked. But I mean, I know we're talking about getting sucked into spaces, but actualizing. It's like if you know something's a certain way, like you should react and move towards that way that you understand it as being. The reason I say this is because like I know I'm gonna have to be used. I know I'm gonna have to be worked. So I can't get mad the first time they ask me to do some shit. Like nigga, this is a part of your job. They're gonna ask you to help your people run some shit out because worst case scenario, somebody gonna have to run your food out. So you can't get mad because if they actually do some shit or clean your section, like nigga, if you don't clean your section at the end of the night, be roaches. Now, while your customers eating the next day or whatever, nigga, they got roaches on their food and shit. So it's like, nigga, like, yeah, you might not want to clean your section, but the long term, if you look at the short term, you might not want to do that shit, but the long term, it affects you. And that's where you have to kind of realize shit, like, or actualize shit. I'm trying to think of another scenario because that's just one thing. But like, trying to think about what's a great example. What good example? I don't need a great example. What's a good example? Um, the cops. I mean, the cops is the perfect example. I always use it because like black people, like as a kid growing up, my mom always used to tell me, "Yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am." Whenever you get pulled over by cops, and that's all she had to ever say to me. My mom would tell me not to call her ma'am, and she'd be like, "No, you gonna respect me, but I don't need you to call me ma'am for me to have that respect." But in that same aspect, I can reverse that and be like, if she tells me to say yes ma'am or no ma'am to somebody, I'm supposed to at least be faking this respect. Cause that's what she feels like the ma'am shit is. That's why she don't really want to be called that shit in a sense. Like it's a power trip type shit. That's how she feels. So she don't want to be called that because she don't like feeling that unnecessary power. Like she already whatever. So in that aspect, when we deal with cops, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. We can act the ass because we're in our right to, but it's smarter not to. It's smarter just to get out the way, have as less interaction as possible. Nobody really getting their feelings. Just make it a business transaction. Now you start doing all the extra shit. You're attracting different spaces, and it's fine if you want to really get into that space or be willing to deal with what comes after that space. So, say for instance, with me, I was trolling the cops last time they arrested me by asking them because it was all Mexican cops that arrested me. We in San Jacinto, we on the east side, had all Mexican cops that arrested me. So I'm like, bro, how do y'all feel arresting me on my way to take my girlfriend to work when y'all got y'all people down there at the border getting raped and abused by pedophiles and people like that? So I'm trolling them. And shit, they fight me or whatever, that's cool. I'm gonna find me a lawyer and get that bread. But I also know I'm gonna have to probably take an L. But at the end of the day, I was so mad, I was so high, I didn't even give a fuck about the repercussions, even though I know what those repercussions was. But any other day, I understand that nigga just yes sir, no sir. But I already know I was getting arrested, so I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to jail. I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say. Like, bro, y'all not about to. Like it wasn't no, oh they gonna let you go type shit. They gonna let you go if it's a possibility of letting you go. You know you good, but I know they wouldn't letting me go, bro, for a fact. But yeah. So actualizing actual spaces, and it's like once you actualize these spaces, you have to adapt to them. You have to adjust to them, because in that sense, that's how you change that space. Because really, you the one that already created space. So in the sense of if you always feel overworked at the slightest of things, you created a stressful environment. Because every time somebody asks you for some shit, it's like, oh no, or like you make them feel like a burden, or you make them feel like, in that sense. So you technically created a space, but then all of a sudden you like, man, I can work a little harder. I can do a little bit of this. Your space start to open up for you because it just is what it is. People can talk to you. People can open up to you, and you feel like you can do more. So if you feel like you can do more, nigga, imagine what the space gonna start doing for you. But I'm trying to find just better definitions. But I know actualizing shit. We talk about thinking about working harder and shit like that, or trying to work harder, or finding improvements in yourself, bro. Like that's a part of you making your space better. But some people always think that whatever they're doing right now is the best thing popping. But it's like, nah, nigga. Even then, you can get better. And I think that's a part of understanding yourself in a sense. But I'm off topic. Another thing I kind of wanted to get into is making yourself matter, and this is why this is another thing why I say I can feel like I'm getting sucked in because after the slave shit, this happened yesterday. A girl got cussed out in Spanish because like she forgot one thing or some shit like that. And it was some shit that she could have brought back like a drink or something real quick. And it's like she got mad, and I was like, "You still got your job." Like I was being like, if the first time I joked with her, she was like, he said, Benji through my journey, and I was like, oh, he going at your mama then? Oh, fuck that nigga. I was like, how you gonna talk about your mama? I was like, but she started laughing with her. I'm joking with her. But the next time he keep cussing, I'm like, no, I can't really joke with her no more. So I was like, man, you got your job. Like, you got your job. Don't worry about that shit. You got your job. You got your money. Don't worry about that shit. Let them niggas be gone. And this is another thing when I was like, my mom, like, they make themselves matter than they have to be. Like, I don't necessarily know if the girl did with that energy. I don't know if she made herself matter, but my mom get cut off in traffic or some shit. She's like, man, people are stupid. That's the first thing she'll say. But then she'll go on and start cussing and doing all this other irate shit. But it's like, if you know people are stupid, why do you keep having the same reaction? Are you hoping they get better? Maybe then you have that reaction. But if you know they're internally stupid and they won't change for the most part, like people gonna always be selfish, people gonna always try to get ahead, people always gonna want to cut you off just because that's who they are by human nature, and their physical driving match their spirituality, which is real shit. Because somebody was just talking about that. You drive slow. When you stop speeding, you got shit on your mind. I was like, I ain't sped since I was 21. 22, goddamn. When I was 22, I was trying to live my best life, goddamn. Full speed ahead. Never paying attention and shit in the middle. But yeah, get back on topic. My mom will make herself matter. And that's kind of my overall picture, my overall thing. Like I can get into them spaces or I can ignore them spaces or understand those spaces exist, but I can then amplify them or hop into the space and then make myself more stressed out, make myself more mad, make myself more fatigue, make myself more whatever. It's many different things that we can amplify on. And I literally chose not to do a certain couple things, like especially the other day, like no, in the sense of I could have been like, man, fuck that nigga, all that other shit, which I never do because it's always about the bigger picture. Like I'm always get the best advice, even if I won't listen to myself in a moment, and that's what I gotta get better to and understanding. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's gonna always be a job that you like. I mean, at a job, you're gonna always feel like you're not gonna always 100% love a job. You're not gonna always 100% love your managers or bosses or supervisors or coworkers. It's gonna at least always be one or two people that ignore you and annoy you or whatever. But even then, it's like kids may annoy you, but you know what they are. They're kids. So it comes to a certain extent where you have to make sure your energy is good, where you're like, I'm not about to let this kid annoy me. I'm not about to literally let this kid make me upset to a point where I don't know what to do with myself. And some parents do that, but that's because they have the same mental capacity as kids. So they get frustrated quickly, just like a kid does. But in that same situation, if you know somebody's an ignorant person, if I know I'm talking to a racist, why would I get irate when talking to a racist? Like, if a dude called me a nigger, like, I'm not about to fight this dude because he called me a nigger. Like, he didn't even emotionally affect me. Yes, he might be emotional, but I'm not hopping into that space with him. For what? He knows what he is, but nigga, I was just living my day. I might go to whatever place and get me a burger. Like, what the fuck am I worried about this dude calling me a nigga for? But I can hop in that space, make myself more matter, try to protect my race, try to protect my people, try to stand up for my pride, or just go get my burger. And that's what a lot of us do. We like, I seen the one, for instance, just girl was at Walmart. He was like, that Nicole stand for Nick or some shit like that. Yeah, your nigga been fucking me or whatever. His address, this, and that. She might could quit that job. She can give up on life. She can not fuck with niggas no more. All because she's embarrassed at what happened in her job and how that dude approached her, that gay dude approached her. But it's like you can keep getting more embarrassed, or you can just take the lumps with the road or whatever and just be like, fuck it. It's another bump in the road and move on. It's like you already knew the nigga was cheating because you said that name you thought was Nicole was Nick. So you already had issues with this nigga with the cheating shit. Now the gay shit should actually make you feel more satisfied. Like, oh, I ain't competing with another female, which you shouldn't be even thinking of it like that anyways, because that's not even how niggas think. We might not know that, but deep down we don't even think like it's not a competition thing. It's just more of a greed thing. But in that same aspect, yeah, like that should have made her feel better. Like, oh, I ain't gotta worry about no woman. Oh, this nigga gay. Like, fuck it. But she can hop in that space and make herself feel more embarrassed because, oh, I'm talking to a gay dude and I didn't know. It's like, man, fuck it. Shit happens, life happens. You can't control nobody. Even if that nigga decided to turn gay, one night he went out the club. Maybe he never showed signs. I'm sure, like I say, it's always signs, but maybe it was signs that because niggas can suppress their ways, like period. Women can suppress their ways, like if you know you have a tick or some shit when you're lying, like if you scratch yourself when you're lying, you can learn how to stop scratching yourself. If you start chewing in your gums when you lying, you can learn how to stop doing that shit. So even then, people can master their little things that give it away. So say if they did do that or whatever, say they didn't do it. They went out one time, went to the club. Now they like trying shit. They're experimental. Okay, move on. Like you can't control people. You can't stop them from just they can't they're not gonna always love you, period. So that battle, that fight, don't get down on yourself because they don't love you no more. Like why they don't love me? Why they don't feel this way about me? Because people change and there's nothing you can do about that shit. Love yourself, that's the only thing you can like loving yourself, bro, that's about the only thing that's gonna stay consistent. Even then that wavers. Like I'm being real. Like I always love myself, but even then I get frustrated and I be like, man, fuck this shit. You dumbass nigga, what are you doing? But even then, it's just lessons. You go through it, figure it out, whatever. But yeah, actualizing your space and not amplifying this shit. I think the traffic shit is the best example, and the cop shit because it happens every day. Like we get pulled over at least once a year, every 6 months. And as a black man, we're gonna have hear a story, hear somebody else's story, know a story that we can literally relate to, or see like just being around, we're gonna see a story that we can relate to when it comes to cops or somebody getting cut off or some shit like that. Dealing with bosses, managers, shit like that. It's like, yeah, bro, why are you there? Are you there to have everybody love you? Then maybe you might need to switch jobs because everybody don't love you there, and you ain't gonna be able to do that. But you're gonna keep always switching jobs because that's literally impossible to do. But what's your real goals? Like if you went to a job, yeah, you know your supervisor's not gonna all your supervisors not gonna love you, all your coworkers not gonna love you. So clearly your goal shouldn't be to have everybody love you in a job. Like your main goal should probably be pay your rent, get your money, get out of there, maybe get more overtime if that's what you choose. Like that should be your goal. But if you start doing anything other than that, it's like now you're starting to reach in a sense, and that space get dangerous. But whatever. Trying to think what else I had in my notes, but I'm gonna have to just. Okay. Look who I'm fucking in. She better than Nicki Minaj, but she was like, what she said? She said something else. Niggas ain't shit, bitches ain't shit too. These niggas is a distraction. And I think this is going into anything. Like, this going to my topic that I'm talking about making yourself matter, making yourself more stressed out and all these different things like that because somebody's only a distraction if you allow them to be. If somebody hit you up, be like, let's go out. You don't have to go out. Like if somebody hits you up and be like, let's do this or do that, and you know you got other shit in your plate, you don't have to do that. No is an option. And for the most part, it's the same thing with our person, same thing with anything else. Like when we get overscheduled, overbooked, when we feel like we're doing too much, like especially when we get jobs, like if you get a good job, you see how everybody start calling you, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. And it's because first of all, you got the funds to do it, and you might not have the time, but it's like, all right, we're gonna still test her and see if she's gonna put her true foundation at risk in a sense, or put your true foundation at risk in a sense. Because think about it like this. Where I want to go with this. You risking your foundation because when you first got that job, you was only about that job. You wasn't trying to go out. You was trying to get your rest. You was trying to just focus and just stay, whatever. But now that you're getting your money, now that you're a little comfortable, you feel like, oh, I can go to sleep at 2. I can go to sleep at 3. I'll wake up in 5 hours. It's fine. But you keep doing that. You keep doing it. Make a habit of it. Now going out is more important than going having your job. And that's usually what a lot of people do after they make so much money. They're like, I don't need this many hours anymore. But it's like you don't realize how you only doing that because Whatever. Getting off topic still, I feel like. But yeah. What I was saying. Not to over criticize and shit, but I hate when I fucking forget what I'm talking about. Oh, allowing people to be a distraction. But yeah, you allow them to be that distraction. You allow people to keep. You kept saying yes to people. Yeah, I do this. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, we can go out to eat here. Yeah, we can go out to eat there, and that pulled you out of your shit. That fucked you up. And you could be like, I don't want to have. I don't need a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. But it's like, no, it's just you have to find your balance in between working or whatever you're doing to keep your money flow going and balancing out what you call fun. Because that shit won't be fun at all if you don't have the money to balance it out or the money to fully do everything that you want to do behind it. So don't ever really jeopardize the shit that you're trying to do to make your money or whatever, especially when it comes to just having fun. Like, I can say if it was a spiritual journey or trying to find knowledge or something, you might risk staying up a little later or something like that because that's for ultimate wisdom in the long run. But versus you trying to just do it for the short term lust or some shit like that. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it with anything, man. Everything starts from self. Like I don't care if it's oppression or anything, but if somebody's a distraction, bro, that's all your fault, bro. Like when people talk about temptation, being tempted, I feel like all this shit come into it. Like it's your own stuff, bro. You started this shit. Don't blame nobody else, bro. Like, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, like the same distraction that you considered a girlfriend or a boyfriend can be like could be an asset that helps you get through life. It just depends on how you want to look at them, how you want to look at people. Like, of course, how I look at humanity, humanity can't do much for me besides just help me. What Jesus? Not I don't think Jesus said, but somebody said, sheep gonna regrow their skin. Besides that, like emotionally or like true knowledge or some shit like that, like some shit that's gonna help me just blow this world open. The mass is not gonna help me do that shit. But I'm really everywhere what I'm talking about right now. I feel like, but why the fuck did I bring up the masses? No one's talking about distractions, but fuck, I'm distracted. I'm distracting myself. What the fuck? Oh well, can't remember everything. Shit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you allow yourself to you allow yourself to be distracted. Point blank. Period. It ain't like we kids or some shit like that. We got short term, whatever attention span. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the same people that's distracting you can be an asset and helping you, but it's how your energy is with using people, and that's why I say, as far as the masses, I see how I can use them even still. Like I can hate them and feel like they're wearing me down, but in that same aspect, like I said, they always gonna regrow their skin as a sheep or whatever they call that shit, they wool. So I can use the masses like that. I don't always have to look at the masses as being bad. I can look at them as a stepping stone, which they are. But yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of going into alchemy too when you think about how you want to use your the people in your life. If it's the masses, your mom, relationships, whatever. It depends on you and your magic. Like everybody in your life can be bad for you if you allow them to be. Everybody in your life can be good for the most part if you allow them to be. Even the bad people can be good for you. Like I was just telling the girl, she was like, she was a Virgo and she dated a Libra, so the compatibility is definitely there and the lessons that will be learned, but it'll feel like it's hell in certain aspects, but you're definitely still growing. And I was like, even if he a fuck nigga, you learn not to fuck with fuck niggas no more because now you finally see what that nigga is. Now you can put that into other fuck niggas where I won't fuck with them. So you still learned. So you can literally feel like every situation in your life is a good situation or it's a bad situation. Depends on how you look at it. So this is where you go into what are lessons and shit like that. Or Nigga, lessons can be bad, tests can be bad, or they can be good. Even if you fail them, you can see your flaws and where you need to get better at. Or you can look at it from the other perspective. And this is going into making yourself matter, making yourself more stressed out. If you fail the test, don't get stressed out, be happy. Now you can see the clear things that you know you're good at. Oh, I got this shit good. I didn't even have to, like, I knew these questions without even second guessing. So, yes, remember those, but I need to work on this section more. That literally helps you understand your weakness. So you can look at all tests as being great for you or bad for you. And this is going into making yourself more mad and making yourself more stressed out. And for me, being more anxious, like I've really seen myself being anxious and stressed out. I'm getting gray hair and shit. I'm only 24. And I mean, like some people get gray hair before then, but it's like, you can just see how the stress and the anxiety plays out. And for me, I know I get over it because I like shit. If I want something, I want it now. Like as a Virgo, I can chill out on a lot of shit. But if I want it, bro, I am going to try my best to get it. And in that same aspect, that can become stressful because I want something so bad in a sense, and it just stresses me out. It's as simple as that. It don't matter if it's materialistic, relationship, um, shit, a goal, from whatever. If I want it, like if I be like, this is what I have to do, I'm going to get it. Like, if I want a car, I'm going to get a car. If I want a job, wherever, like I could be bullshitting, like the whole like that's what we was talking about, procrastination. Virgos procrastinate a lot. Not that it's not necessarily that we procrastinate, but we're pondering what do we truly want. And once we find out what we want, and once we get a glimpse of what we want, we chase that shit to sometimes endless needs or whatever, where it don't have balance. But yeah, even then you learn from that shit and you become better. But yeah, I think that ties it all up in the sense of making yourself mad and making yourself happy or whatever. You control that space. Period. How you look at that space. Period. Like, you can hate taking tests, so you're gonna most likely hate life. Point blank. Period. I know I don't love taking tests, so I mean this life has problems, but I understand the value of tests. So, and I guess I might love to take tests one day, but I don't even, I'm not gonna be that nigga, dog. I'm not even gonna tell y'all. One day I'll love to take tests. No, even then you get anxious or like, cause you're vulnerable in a sense of this, not a math test, a science test, but a life test. You're vulnerable because now you literally gonna see what's wrong, like where your flaws at. And if somebody else was grading you or somebody else was watching you or observing you, now they can see your flaws, especially if they was in a test with you. So say if you in a relationship and or you stay with your parents or some shit. Like if something happened to you, like a breakup, like your parents to see how you deal with life or whatever. So you might feel vulnerable about around your parents, but since they're your parents, you feel a little more comfortable. Or say you're around your roommate or some shit like that, and you going through life problems or something like this. Or you're around work, like you're at work and you usually happy and all this shit, but your wife call you with, oh, she's sick or like she thinking about leaving you or some shit. Like that whole energy change up, and yeah, I mean, why am I saying this? Yeah, when you just around people, like they you might feel even more vulnerable because these certain tests come up where you have to deal with these things and people be around you. So even then, like I guess I brought up other people because now you can see how you'll feel vulnerable yourself when you fail these tests. Now you truly can see yourself like, oh, this is where I fucked up. This is where I'm weak at. And some people don't like taking tests because they don't want to announce their weaknesses. They don't want to even say that they're weak, and that goes into this whole. I guess people feel that they're perfect or everything they shit don't stink. And bro, y'all shit is trash. See, some of y'all backed up. Y'all ain't even shit, and y'all just farting and think it's shit. Goddamn, smells so damn bad. But nah, I'm just playing. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, a lot of people don't feel like what they like they can't do nothing wrong. I talk about this with their religion. They feel like their religion can't do nothing wrong, so they feel like everybody else is trash, or they judgmental and shit like that. And it just all comes from the space that they exist in, and feeling like they can't improve, like they don't need to improve. Like Jesus is everything, God is everything, and once they come, that's the only improvement we gonna need type shit. But whatever. trying to think. I mean, I kind of talked about these things before, but just getting into it more, I guess. And the over criticizing, for me being a Virgo, man, it goes into that. It goes into anxiety, criticizing again, because especially right now, is the perfect example because I judge myself and other people don't have the same critiques of it of what I have, and it's like you can't even say they're wrong because they have more experience than you. Like I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing in serving. Like I know what I'm doing. I'm just being facetious in a sense, but they have experience. They seen other people come and go. They seen people stay. They seen people go through their growing pains. They seen real growing pains. They seen real slow people. And I might feel slow. I might feel like I'm not doing good, but they've seen really not doing good, especially for first days. And they be like, nigga, you might be better than some of the people we got now. They've been here 3 months. And I'm like, oh, they ain't never say that to me, but that might be what they're thinking, and they have that experience to think like that. Oh, they like, we work with people way worse than you. Like, oh, this your first time serving too? Are you good? Like, and that's what they'll tell me. And for instance, like my first day by myself, shit was just hectic. Kind of was forgetting shit. And for me, everybody was like, "How you went?" I was like, I say I had a horrible day. I had a bad day, and I'm using these words horrible and bad, knowing that I'm joking, but I'm still like I had a bad day. Like I could have did better because I had a lot of room for improvement. Like just that's literally I feel vulnerable in the sense of like, damn, nigga, I'm out here just really fucking up. Like I really think I know what I'm doing. I was like, I don't know how my girl do this. Like I was just in my head, and I'm still getting people orders out and shit, but it's like, man, when I had my trainer, shit was a lot easier. Just thinking shit like that, and it's like. I'm in the fire, and it's like I'm not walking out because I need the money and all that type of shit. Like I'm not walking out, like, period. But it's like you those thoughts might pop up in your head. It's like, man, this shit here, because bro, I literally and it like I felt like, damn, what I do next? What I do next? And like I know what to do, but it's like I had like 4 or 5 tables at once on my first day, and I just wasn't ready for that shit. And I had like my first table had him me up on some shit. I said they got my ass goddamn. They was like, can we have one thing to go and everything else here? Then they was like, oh, can we have everything to go? And it was like, never mind, take everything out to go box. We're gonna eat here. Then once I give them their food, can we have a to go box? I was like, bro, I'm spending too much time at this table. I start not panicking, but you start panicking. And just from there, like literally that was like my first or second table. So from there, my whole day was just shitty and like off. The next day I come in, how you do? How did you feel yesterday? I was like growing pains, all that. And she was like, it probably wasn't that bad. I talked to my girl when I get home. Like I guess that's the same day, not the next day. I talked to her. She like, I still get comps. I still do that. You gonna still have those, but you being too hard on yourself. So I was like, yep, I have to understand that. And it's like, I don't even want to hear that. Like I'm being too hard on myself because if I'm not I'm not successful enough in a sense. Like I'm not thriving. I'm still surviving. So nigga, I need to be harder. And I guess it's like I shouldn't say I need to be harder. I should take the Wayne approach and just let it all work out because I know that I work so hard. Working harder then don't necessarily mean you're working smarter. So let it all work out in a sense. And that's what I have to be. Just chill. You don't have to be the greatest server. You don't have to be the most attentive server. You don't have to be like it's okay. Like sometimes your food gonna come out late, especially when you're first starting. Like it's okay for these certain things to happen. Like, but for me, I don't want none of that. Like I don't want my shit to stink in a sense, and that's me not trying to seem vulnerable. Like I'm so good at everything else, but I've never done this before, so I can see how I try to put on a mask and act like I know what I'm doing, but I didn't do that because I like, hey, I don't act like I know what I'm doing because as soon as you start acting and start fucking up, people start, oh, that nigga not really, and that's where people get fucked up at. Like people always think they're the best, the super best at this, and when them flaws start showing, people start pointing out them flaws and oh y'all haters and like no. You kind of led us to doing this. So, yeah. If you really think you're the greatest, we're going to show you why you're not, or we're going to show you how to be it because we still can see some flaws. And you can't be mad if somebody tries to help you out and pointing out those flaws. But, yeah, for the most part, just seeing that how, like, this has been a great experience in understanding how I overdo myself sometimes. And it's like I say, I don't feel like I'm overdoing it because I'm not thriving yet. So it is what it is. But I still need to find my balance. before I let the stress and anxiety eat me up, because that's where stress and anxiety come from, thinking that there's a timeline or a deadline you have to meet. And I guess that's in my head. I'd be like, before I'm 30. But it's like, bro, I'm always a kid. In the sense of the Bible, you're always a child of God. You're never fucking really grown. Even when you're 90, you're fucking still a child, and you're still waiting for your next life to, like, in the sense of, like I said, the Bible. I'm using the Bible, but we're always kids. So it's like, even then, bro, you still gonna have room to grow at the age of 99. And that's what people kind of fail to realize. And even when they get, like I say, it's fine to get set in your way, especially when it's a firm foundation and a foundation you truly love. But even then, it's like you can still add more pieces to your foundation. Or you can get ready to build a new foundation. You ain't got to hold on to the old ones that you learned from. Like, especially in U99 100, like, you're at the peak of your foundation. It's time to start building a new one, in a sense. Yeah, it might mimic the same one from the past, like in the sense of, let's think of a store that has like a branch off store, but it's still the same values. It's CVS and Walgreens. No, that's horrible. What's a food place? Papa's, the Papa's industry. Um, there you can build a new foundation, but it's still built off the Papa's industry. For instance, or Landry's for people that worked like at the know Sawgrass and Luby's and shit like that. But yeah, you can build a whole. For instance, we got Papa Do's, we got Papa's barbecue, we got Papa's seafood, we got Papa's Papacitos. But then they made a place called Dots, which is an American style thing, and it's fine too. And they created that whole thing, but it still branched from the Papa's brand, the Papa's foundation. So yeah, you can be set in your ways, but you already probably you pretty much getting all the things that you're gonna get out of Papa Do's and out of Papa's barbecue and out of Papacitos. Like, you know what they are, you know how to make them work, you know how to make them tweak, twerk. If it mess up, you know how to fix it. You know how to do everything because you've literally been the captain of that ship for so long. And now it's time for you to build another ship, and it might be a bigger, grander ship, but it still has all the memory or the remembrance, and it was created in the same aspect of the old foundation, and that's your new life in a sense. And that's where you get the karma and all that shit from. It's like, what were you trying to do? What were you trying to change? What were you trying to create? What were you trying to manifest in your next life? And it'll be, that whatever you're trying to do in this life will have effects of your past life type shit. And we might not necessarily feel it or know it because it's hard to understand our past life, especially if you're not tapping into it. But a lot of the things that we battle come from our past life. Like, for instance, me being a Virgo, I was either like, so I was in some type of, I just use it like a physical aspect. I was in an industry that had to do some type of critiquing. Could have been like a judge, and that's where you get like the lawyers and shit like that. And like, I might have been like that in my past life, and that, like, when I first went to college, I wanted to be a lawyer. So I had like, what do you call it? I had, like I said, I had residue still seeping over into this life, where I was like, I might have been a lawyer or a judge in my past life, but I'm still trying to do it in this life. I had to realize that I ain't really trying to do that shit. So that's how I kind of be like, oh, I might have did that in my past life. Same with football, same with sports, because like, I feel like I was naturally gifted in sports. So I was like, I had some type of foundation in sports, and I was trying to do that in this life too. Like, and it's not necessarily meant for you to do that because you're trying to do something completely, not completely different, but something new in that same aspect of what you did in the past. So uh, if I was a lawyer then, maybe I was a lawyer to know all the rules and to be somebody that was maybe a rebel or somebody that break the rules or something, in the sense of don't get caught because you know the rules, you know the law, you know how to operate in two different worlds in a sense. And that's my idea of what it is now. But and I mean, just through my path and just the certain things, I'm a natural rebel, and I have to still understand the law. Just because you're a rebel don't mean you just disregard the law completely. You need to understand the law and the jurisdictions and all this different shit, because the better you know that shit, the better you can get out of shit when you do get caught. And that's the smart shit. And bringing in, I went into one world being a lawyer and shit, and now also like the what I'm battling in the sense of, don't completely get run away from your laws, in the sense of, like, say my parent, this might be difficult to understand, but say my parents was lawyers and my parents was the law, or my parents was the pastor, but I'm using my parents as an analogy as my past life. Like, And my parents always preached the law. I always just was preachers. I would want to be the opposite of that. So I wish that would have been a rebel. So I can completely forget about what my parents tried to teach me, or I can be a rebel and still know what my parents taught me. So I can be a rebel and still use my past life values, or or you can be exactly like your parents, and we also know how that doesn't get us far. And you being exactly like your past life in a sense, like you can be that same lawyer and all that shit, but it's like, it's been done before, and it's like it's almost cliche when you get the what's that fucking the Esquire name. Panic love saying that shit like that Esquire, like it's like all right, nigga, you ain't doing shit new. But yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. You're gonna either run away from your past life completely, which is you still gonna have to like you now you're just ignoring all the wisdom and past knowledge that you had, and now you really kind of starting over, and you still starting over with the from still having a reflection of that last foundation, but you now like cutting off the middle part in the sense of not knowing how you got there into that in a sense in your next life. But or like I said, you can remember everything and completely love your past life and hold on to that past life and don't start creating a new life, which would be technically better and more advanced and more amplified because you're in a new life and you're supposed to use what you had in the past to now make some better shit. Like that's one recipe now. Like say we love Tony Satcherns as black people, which would be a lawyer in a sense, and we want to put Tony Satchers on everything. Like yes, nigga, that's good, but now your food gonna all taste the same. Like your life is the exact same as your last life. There's no new taste. Like there's same bitter shit, the same sweet shit, because it's the same spectrum you live in. The lawyerhood, people gonna be grimy. It's gonna be people that need to be saved. The different energy signatures you're gonna run into, and you know how to deal with them. And that's why people get comfortable, like understanding whatever relationships they're in. Like if it's a relationship with a job, relationship with a person, relationship with whatever, they get comfortable because they feel like they understand everything that deals with it, so they don't really want to move on to something that could be better or even a better existence in that relationship. But whatever. Hopefully I didn't get too wordy. Hopefully I understood all that. But yeah. Uh, but yeah, I mean, trying to think what else. I don't even know why I got into that rebel shit. Mm. Oh, getting stuck in your ways. 99-year-old. I think why I said that now. I mean, for the most part, not getting stuck, not getting trapped either past life, and not getting so caught up in this life because like you don't really know what you're doing in the sense of like karma. Like, that's why I brought it up. Like that's where we get karma from. Like you attract things that you run away from. So if you're trying to ignore your parents and the things that they taught you, you're gonna eventually attract all the things that you ran away from because you're now ignoring all the wisdom and knowledge. So you're gonna go into all those errors. Like I said, the lawyer is the best example because if you're ignoring the laws and all that shit and being a rebel, eventually that shit'll catch up with you. Point blank. Period. So in that same aspect, yeah. You can still be a rebel, but you need to remember everything your parents taught you, or for the most part, try to remember everything they taught you. But yeah, trying to think of how else karma ties into it. But if it like, let me think. Mm, trying to think how I could tie it into your past life and how you attract karma. A better example. I can't really think of shit, but it's literally trying to. It's really. It's like karma for me. It's not like some. It's not some. It's not a deity or the universe. It's you and your habits. and what habits you're trying to create, what habits you're trying to break. Like karma is the lessons, like that's going to help you break those bonds. And for me, for instance, Joey Diaz talked about it like wanting to hurt somebody, and it's like, man, fuck it. Like they're gonna end up hurting themselves. And then I think he was talking about driving or some shit like this. Like people that cut you off, eventually gonna get there. It's people that's always upset and angry and always have to be the big guy in the room. They're gonna get theirs. Like you can beat up a couple people being a bully, but eventually somebody's gonna smack in your fucking mouth, and it's gonna be 10 times worse than you probably did to anybody else. Because the person you fuck with just wasn't having it that day. You was just doing it just to please your ego. And they was doing it to survive and keep their whatever. So, for instance, I watched that Joey Diaz thing, and literally when I walked out my house, like she didn't cut me off, but you know how when you're walking and a car can stop before, so you can walk in front of them, and it was another like 2 cars ahead of her at the stop sign, so she literally could have stopped and let me walk in front of her, but she kept going. I had to like go around her car. I don't know if I talked about this on here before, and literally after I went around her car, she went to the stop sign. She just took off. Like she almost fucking got hit that fast. Like a car blew her. Their horn was like she came out and went into the second lane, and she should have probably went into the first one, but she probably was trying to avoid the one car and went into the other car and almost got hit by that car. And if that car wasn't paying attention, she would have got hit. But her driving tendencies already had showed when she cut me off in a sense. So it's like this also going to with talking about my mom getting mad at stupid drivers and shit like that. Don't get mad because you know what they are, and they're gonna get what's theirs eventually. Like if you always robbing people, eventually you're gonna run into somebody that's ready to protect their house, and they're gonna be waiting for the day for you to walk into their shit. Like nigga, they gonna make it like Saw on some shit. Like, oh, you came to the wrong one, nigga. We gonna keep you here. They ain't even gonna know you was here, bro. And if you did, they do figure it out. We're gonna make up some elaborate ass lie, and you still broke into our house, so they're gonna most likely believe us. But whatever. It's just like you're gonna attract. That's what karma is to me. You're gonna attract the lessons, and the more you create these habits, the more. And habits not necessarily bad, but habits is how you form yourself, how you become better at some shit. The more you do something, the more you learn from it. The more you hear a song, the more you know it, or more you can decode it. Just period. The more you go through life, the more you understand it. The more you date people, the more you understand whatever whoever you're dating, whatever type of people you're dating. Shit. The more you understand yourself too. Period. Because the people you attract, like, or the people you like. For instance, every time I show my friends a girl that I like or I think is cute, they be like, "Oh, you have a type." Well, apparently I have a type. Oh well. But you might not necessarily notice that, especially if you only had one relationship or whatever. But you've probably had crushes and shit like that, and you can see how those crushes are the same. And the type of niggas that you like or whatever. Or dudes, women, whatever. Well, yeah, for me, karma, just trying to use it from the past life, like in a sense of, like you're trying to put the lessons in front of you that's going to help you change, that's going to help you teach you the magic. So if you're a person that's arrogant, karma's going to give you humbling experiences. You might not like these humbling experiences because you're arrogant, but it has to break you. It's like a wild horse, and we're chaos beings, so it's not like they're gonna. You can do it because it's a part of our chaos, and we can be unchaotic in a sense or whatever, because you can whatever. Opposites is the same as whatever. I don't even know how I wanted to explain that, but in the sense of you can. Fuck, I be going off on tangents in my head and want to explain the shit, then don't explain it, then get frustrated at myself when I don't explain it. But bucking a wild horse, like, why did I even bring that up? Because I fucking forgot trying to go into my other shit. But karma is like, karma is trying to, what do you do to a horse once they're not wild anymore? Tame it or whatever. But yeah, karma is trying to tame your wild horse. Like which would be your ego in that case. It's that simple. And it's like we're gonna teach you we're gonna ride you till you become humble, or at least be able to be humble and ego egotistical in the sense of having balance. Like you were too egotistical. So say all you need is one humbling experience just to find your balance. That's fine. Maybe some people take way more longer to get through shit. That's why we go through cycles of shit, and that's really what karma is. And it's how long it takes to break a habit, either bad or good, or how long it takes to form a habit, either bad or good. I'm trying to think maybe some other ideas. Some people might be too loving or loving in the wrong places. Like we might love other things or outside ideas more than we love ourselves. So we chase these outside people or outside material shits, and it show us what love really ain't in a sense. And it's supposed to help you find balance, but some of us run away from love completely, and you got to go through a whole nother life and now trying to rehabit finding love again in yourself. But let me, oh fuck, man. It's just a loop of shit. So it sounds weird when explaining it. It's like deja vu. It's like a looper or some shit. So when I'm explaining, it's like bro, I'm repeating myself, but it's the process we go through. So for instance, with love, we're too loving in the wrong thing. So we love things that don't last forever. The only thing that lasts forever is ourself and our love for self and our knowledge of self and like we don't think that really lasts forever. Of course, there's other outside entities and spirits, but outside of ourselves, everything dies. At least even with the relationship. They might not physically or spiritually die, but the connection y'all have will be severed at one point. Only connection that don't sever is your connection with yourself. So in that aspect, all things will die eventually or separate or whatever. So if you keep looking for love outside of yourself, you keep looking for things outside of yourself, or even if you use the one example you got. If you keep trying to find the love outside of yourself, even if you love yourself, I guess you should kind of, if you love yourself, you find, fuck man, chicken nuggets. If you love yourself and you understand yourself, it might be okay to find love. I'm talking to the people that's not really there yet. If they really don't have that internal love and they looking for somebody else to love them more than they love themselves type shit, these are the people I'm trying to communicate to. So that's what I'm trying to say. So now let's get into my example. I guess that was a disclaimer. But okay, so say you're so loving of other things, you find a fuck boy, or you chase materialism until it breaks you or makes you broke, and you be like, what do you call it? What's they do? MC Hammer or some shit. So now you hate people or you hate to love, and now you're the opposite spectrum. But it wasn't trying to knock you off the spectrum, it was just trying to find your balance. So now you're on the opposite of, okay, that's how it works. There's three sides. Think of it as a side in the middle. It's like, well, fuck it. But it's three sides of the spectrum. You want to be in the middle, of course, and you're too loving is on the left side. Then you go to the right side once the experience happened to you badly, and it's like, no, nigga, you're supposed to center yourself, find that middle point, and that's the biggest thing with us. Like, if something bad happens to us, especially with love, we be like, fuck love. I want to be a player. I don't want to take nothing serious. And it's like, no, that's not the way to go about it either. We was trying to balance you. But since you don't understand balance, or since you don't understand loving yourself more than loving anything outside of you, you're going to have to keep going through life until you figure out how to balance yourself. And you're going to keep going through loving, like those experience dealing with love and hate, until you figure out that balance between love and hate, and why it keeps existing in your world type shit. And that's where that karma comes from. Like, you might do it for one half of your life until you get it. You might have to go through your whole life battling, I love this person, I hate this person, I love this person, I hate this person. Like, but none of those relationships worked out for you in a sense. Like, your next life, you might figure it out, and you might stay with one person the whole time because you realize it's you, period. It's you. And how you deal with the situations, relationships. For instance, this goes to good dad, poor dad, rich dad, poor dad. My bad. When it talks about switching jobs, it's like you can keep switching jobs, but the reason you're doing is because you think jobs are going to get better and not your understanding of yourself in these situations. Like, work with these jobs until you can get out. But if you just keep switching jobs, that's not the answer. Work, like, because a job is a job. It's never going to change from being a job. It's supposed to be a stepping stone to get you to your next point. If you don't understand that, switching jobs and going place to place, it will never matter. Just because you're trying to find something that's, more. There's many different reasons they use, especially in that book. It could be a mental thing, it could be a financial thing, but it is what it is. If you can't make that job work, it most likely is your fault. And of course, I know that sounds crazy, but that's me talking about magic. That's me talking about just our magic period. We can make a lot of things work that we think that's a complete failure. And of course, some people hold on to certain things, but it is what it is. Like I said, it's a balance. It's fuck. I hate talking about it because it's spectrums of everybody. Nobody's is just one way. Some people hate to love. Some people are too loving. Some people are in the balance, and I'm sure at one point all of those different people will watch my videos. So it's like, just understand what shoes you in and understand what you got to follow or what you got to work on. For me, I use myself as an example. All the way through high school, I was too loving. Once I got kind of out of high school, I started to find that fuck people instance, or it's all about me in a sense. And even when it was all about me, it was all about me in the sense of I was ignoring my old self, because my old self loved to be a loving person, a lovey-dovey person, but it's like you only can do that for yourself. And then when somebody loves you enough to receive that, then you do it for them. But even if they do leave, you don't stop loving yourself. It's not your fault. That's a lot of I think a problem with us when somebody breaks up with us, or if we break up with them. It's like, why did I choose that person? Why did my dumb ass get with that person? It's because you had to go through certain things and they made you better, whether you like it or not. But yeah, I'm tired of talking about loops and circles and cycles. But yeah, I mean, it definitely tested my mind in the sense of just thinking. But it's just funny. And I guess not even really testing, but it's just funny, man, just to talk about it. Because we literally do these things like we, because I came from each girl I dated, like names, but it's like the first 3 or 4 girls I dated, like first one broke my heart, the second one I broke up with them, the next one broke my heart. Like it was on some shit like I was literally switching fucking, and it was hilarious, bro. Like then I had a chance to renew what I really wanted, but I fucked that up because I was kind of like, fuck this shit. I was just like, I'm just gonna do whatever in a sense, and that's when I was kind of finding my way of being a player. Even in high school, I said I was a lovey-dovey dude in high school, but that was like my first 2 years. But yeah, find your balance, man. Understand your lesson, understand your space, and understand really you're gonna get through everything, and how you look at it is the biggest thing. You can look at it as every lesson or every test and everything you go through as the worst shit ever, or you can look at it as that shit made you stronger. If it didn't kill you, it made you stronger. And that's how I kind of choose to look at shit, because I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I always want to go deeper, bro, but yeah, chill. I'm out. Deuces. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for commenting. Especially ones, I'm just be talking. Especially all the ones that I fuck with right now. Like everybody that be commenting, bro, y'all are real ones. Like, I know one day I might have more views, but I won't forget about y'all, bro. I swear. Because there's a lot of people that should be fucking with me right now, but don't. But y'all do. So I really appreciate you guys. But yeah, let me get out of here, man.